Hi everyone. Welcome to this little video interview chat with Rachel from Inspired Life Group. Rachel, thank you for joining me today and taking time out of your busy life to
My
do this
pleasure.
with me. If you'd like to tell the world who you are and what your business is before we get started.
Okay, fab. So I'm Rachel Hayth and my business is the Inspired Life Group. And the purpose is all about helping people to empower themselves and realize they have a choice when it comes to the way they live their life. And I do that through coaching, really focusing on self-belief for people and being able to take those leaps of faith and make scary decisions. But also I have a health and well-being side to the business as well. So I help people to look after their gut health and use natural skincare. So it's all aimed at helping people at the end of the day.
Lovely stuff. Great stuff. So you've been a customer of ours, the Web Guys, for what, 18 months ish?
It's about that. Yes, it must be. Yeah.
So I think your wonderful website has been live. You can all see that in the description in the video after. There'll be links to Rachel's website and some social media stuff. You can all obviously go and have a look at and follow once we're done with this. How you found this whole process of actually having a website? Because I suppose being a coach is a reasonably new thing. So being an independent coach as a business, so having that website is a new thing for you as well. How have you found the process after the website has gone live, trying to utilize it in your business? What have you how have you used it?
Well, now that I have a fully functioning website that actually encompasses everything that I do, which I didn't have prior to this, it's given me a tool to focus on to try and, any interest from people in my business, I try and direct them to the website first. It's again, the fact it encompasses all the elements of what I do just makes it a good one-stop shop. People can find out a bit about me, which I think is really important to know who you're looking to work with and what their background is and all that sort of stuff. And I've also the ability to be able to contact yourselves and make appointments to ask for help. Okay, I want to do this now. What do I do? How do I do it? Because prior to this process starting, I had no clue whatsoever, literally no clue. And so the fact that I know I've got access to help when I need it is fantastic. And that's been a really useful thing. And that's when I tell people, because I do tell people about yourselves, and that's one of the things I do use in my sort of referral process, is to say, well, that you don't even have to start from a point of knowing anything, because they're the experts. They'll help you and point you in the right direction. So
I suppose it's a little like everything else, isn't it? It's obviously you wouldn't know how to do it until someone actually shows you how. Because I think hopefully you found that a lot of things in regards to your website is actually not that complicated to do once someone has guided you. It's about holding your hand and showing you how, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely. And that sort of collaborative way of working is a brilliant thing.
Yeah. Good. So that's great. It's great that you're feeling it supporting your day-to-day business activities. In terms of success, that is a success. I think that the fact that the website can support you in that way. So obviously our goal is to help you to move on from that for having the website to actually help you build the business in terms of customers and prospecting and that kind of stuff. How have you find, I for example, on the homepage of your website, you have like a newsletter sign up. Is that something that you found a success with, or because it's quite prominently placed in right as you come to your website?
Yeah, in honesty, it's not something I've pushed as much as I would like to have done. I started with the newsletter and terribly didn't keep it up. So I haven't been focusing on that at all, or pointing people towards it is one of the things.
Sure.
But that's something I'm picking up now. I'm funnily in the middle of writing the next newsletter, because that's something I want to start pushing out on a monthly basis. And again, it's somewhere else that you can point people to, because sometimes people don't want in-your-face interaction. Sometimes they'd rather just have something a bit more low-key into their inbox.
Yes.
And I feel that can be a really good tool. So that's definitely something I'm going to be promoting a lot more of from now on.
No, I think you're right. It's something. It's a habit thing. People like having them
Mm,
come so they can pick
yeah,
them up when they feel they got time and interest in doing so.
exactly.
I think
Yeah,
it's very important that if I think everyone should send out a newsletter. I
yeah,
realize it's all about time, isn't it? We got to find time to do it.
yes,
It's about prioritizing things. So I think if you do commit to doing a newsletter, you should try and pick a day and a time of the month and make sure it
yes,
always gets sent on those time and dates. That way, people become. It's about habits, isn't it? So they
yeah,
used to
absolutely.
getting
What
your
they know to
newsletters.
expect it into their inbox, and hopefully they'll look forward to it.
Yes,
That's the
exactly,
plan.
exactly. And why wouldn't they? Of course they would.
Yeah,
So, but that's, and I think that's great. That's sensible. I'm aware that this whole, as business owners and parents and running family lives is certainly now with people, having to homeschool, it can be challenging. So I
yes,
understand
challenging
that.
is a
So
good word for it.
yes. So I think one of the things I wanted to have a quick chat about today is actually it brings us nicely into that is content and content on website, because that is quite often most people struggle with, because as you should have, you have a blog on your website, and I realize that probably time constraint has restricted your time to
Yeah,
produce stuff for the blog.
yeah,
Yeah. So
yeah.
one of the things I would sort of perhaps have a quick chat about, maybe exploring. Have you thought about utilizing YouTube for the blog?
Do you know, I have and I haven't. I've sort of fleetingly thought about it, but I suppose maybe I'm concerned about the time it would take from the point of view of trying to balance everything. I mean, I think with the kids going back to school, hopefully
Mm,
might get back to a bit more of an even keel. But I do think content is really important,
mm,
and keeping a blog up to date and exploring what the options are for getting the content out there. For me in particular, I do feel that's really important, and it's certainly something I would be interested in exploring, because one of the things you often find with coaches is they give out free discovery calls. I don't do
yeah.
that because I feel that if I've put enough content out there, people can know who I am and what I do and have an inkling of whether they want to work with me or not. And again, I think YouTube's a potentially really good platform for that, because people get to see your face, get to see
And
you
it's
talking.
absolutely, I completely agree with you, and it's quite interesting that you mention YouTube as a platform to get your content out there, and absolutely, it very much is. But what I like to sort of try and encourage people to do is actually looking at YouTube as the means of generating the content as well, because
Okay.
the wonderful thing about something like YouTube is there's many wonderful things, but one of them is that one, it's owned by Google. That
Right.
gives us a
Yes.
big thumbs up because it gives you double
Good
brownie
point.
points in terms of your rankings. The
Yeah.
second is that if you look, you probably have a smartphone, don't you? I don't know if you have an
Yes.
iPhone or
Yeah.
something like this, yeah. Without knowing at all, and you can confirm this to everyone, I haven't asked you this before we went live here, is you probably already have the YouTube app on your phone.
Yes, you haven't asked me that before, and yes, I do have the app on my phone.
Exactly. So, and that's the thing. And most people don't realize this, but creating a channel in YouTube doesn't cost anything. And once you've
Yeah.
connected it to the app on your phone, in order to create content, all you really need is to start the YouTube app on your phone, start recording, speak for 90 seconds, 2 minutes about
Yeah.
something you want to tell people about today, press save, and we can make it so that it automatically uploads into your blog.
Wow. Right. How do I need to get
Yeah.
going with this, Brian? That sounds
So
fantastic. I like that.
and this is what I'm saying. It's about perception. It's about mindset, because I think
Yeah.
a lot of us, because as small business owners, we are so pushed on time all the time that it's
Yes.
about finding those little hacks that make life so much simpler. And a lot of them are actually there without us knowing them. And if no one tells you about it, how can you know? Again, it's
Yeah.
back to that same thing, isn't it?
Absolutely. And just to hear how simple that process would be, that makes me think, well, that's not a problem to incorporate that into my plan of what I do each week.
Exactly.
You
Exactly.
know,
Who
I had a
doesn't?
vision of it being really time consuming.
Yeah, no, and that's the thing. A lot of people get really sort of I suppose scared is not the right word, but they get
Yeah.
very concerned when they hear, oh, I need to create content.
Yeah.
And I says, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. I know that a lot of people don't like putting themselves in front of a camera like we have done here today,
Yeah.
but it's one of those things. We live in a world now where you sort of just have to get over that. I know that's not a problem
Yeah.
for you because you network all the time. So,
Yeah.
you know, it's easy for you. So it's, you know, it's really, really dead simple to generate that content very quite quickly. And you have the tools right there to do it. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I love that.
So,
I need to do that.
absolutely. Yeah. So
Fantastic.
it's just one of them things, isn't it? There's so many wonderful things, and I think we're so hooked on social media and all that kind of stuff that it just swallows time away from us, and it sort of skews our way of thinking, because as soon as I mentioned YouTube, your first reaction was it's a good platform to spread the word. You never thought about it as a platform to actually generate the content for you.
No, I just didn't at all.
No.
I guess it's that classic thing of you don't know what you don't know.
Absolutely.
Someone points it out.
Yeah, and that's the whole point of you doing what you're doing as well, is that you're talking to people about a lot of stuff they don't realize until you tell them.
Yes, absolutely. You know? Yeah, very much.
So that's great. That's great. So I suppose with us being a year, 18 months in, you know, again, future will tell us a lot, I suppose. So I think this has been really quite enlightening and interesting, and lovely for you to join me here just for this little quick 10 minutes chat. I think we should do this again in a year and see what the world has brought inside this next year, and hopefully this can inspire someone else out there to sort of have a look at some of the things that we've sort of gone through in terms of newsletters and YouTube and creating content. Is there anything you want to tell me about your website, things you want to ask that you've been thinking about? See, I like putting people on the spot, you see.
Yeah. I mean, the key thing I think really is getting up to date with the blogging and sort of integrating YouTube. That, you know, that just sounds like a brilliant tool. I think generally speaking, I suppose one thing I would ask is, have you got any advice of how often you ought to be, or I ought to be, updating my website? Because I kind of do it periodically, but I don't have a plan.
No, that's a very good question. It's a very, very good question, because we all know that when it comes to searches and all that kind of stuff, that whole world is owned by Google. So we really need to find a way of complying with what Google expects from us, from what they call a dynamic website, because Google hates static websites. That's really what it comes down to. So in order to satisfy that, you need to have either one piece of written content of a minimum of 500 words, and it needs to be authentic, relevant, and unique. So, but you can substitute that. So it doesn't have to be a written piece. If you put, like, as I said, a little 2-minute video on, then that's enough as well. What I like to suggest to people is maybe do a mixture. You know, maybe 1 month you do a video, the next month you do a written. What if you really could find the time for it, if you could then every 2 weeks do a video and every 2 weeks do a written piece to sort of complement the two. What we've started doing recently is that we've done a written piece, and then we've embedded videos into the written piece as well to give it that little bit on top. So you can do that as well. Because that's another wonderful thing about YouTube, is that you can embed them into stuff. So that to sort of accompany the topic. So what I would recommend is that you come up with 12 topics, one for each month. So that will last you the year, and then just spend the time then doing the content for the topics as you go along in the month, type thing. Or you can create topics for every quarter. If you're finding that every month is a bit too much.
That's true.
So but if you did one video, maybe 2 videos every month, and stuck them in there, then that would be more than enough. Absolutely. Because it'll just give you that dynamic. So in essence, all you really need to do is 4 minutes a month. 2 minutes every 2 weeks.
Which isn't long, is it?
It's really not.
Anyone that says they can't fit that in is lying.
Absolutely. And I would guarantee that you're finding yourself across the week when your other half is watching something on telly that you're really not interested in. So I'm sure you can find 2 minutes there.
Yeah, the amount of time probably scrolling Facebook, if I cut back on that just by 2 minutes, yeah, that's done. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Good point.
Exactly. So, right. Okay. Well, I hope that was helpful. It was certainly interesting to me. Thank you for
Definitely.
doing this.
Yeah, my pleasure.
So for everyone out there, please go and have a look at Rachel's website and all the wonderful things that she does. Go and have a look on her on Facebook and LinkedIn and like some of her stuff. She does some fantastic stuff out there. So thank you, Rachel, and I shall see you all again very soon.
Yeah, look forward to it. Thanks for your time.